In the Rise of Skywalker trailers and promotional pictures, we've all seen Kylo's new helmet. It has some red glowing cracks that look like he's Legoed them all together with glue. Now, while for the longest time I theorized that, hey, maybe it's just Kylo putting his helmet back together with red space glue, or shards of kyber crystals, or maybe it allows him to shoot lasers from his brain, or something maniacal and new. Who really knows at this point? The movie's not out yet, so your guess is really as good as mine. But being a man with lots of theories, I think this new theory that I have could possibly be one that's pretty cool, at least, cooler than space glue. Now, in the D23 footage that no one online saw publicly, which only members of D23 got to see at the event, they got to see this cool scene of Kylo standing in a white room as he looked down upon Vader's helmet. The photo can be found online. Of course, it's leaked, but I'm not going to post it here because it'll just get taken down. Anyways, Vader's helmet looked different. It looked like it was being held in a vertical trash compactor with smoke coming out from all sides, as if it were being frozen or coming out of a freezing process. What I'm trying to say is it didn't look whole anymore. It looked squished and contorted, more so than we saw it in The Force Awakens, which was Vader's helmet after it was burned in Return of the Jedi. How he still got the helmet, I'm not sure, but my assumption is that the Knights of Ren found it. I think Kylo was preserving it or doing something to it here in Episode 9, keeping it in a special condition or something. My theory is, what if he took pieces of Vader's helmet, breaking it apart, and then inserting them carefully into his refurbished helmet? I highly doubt that he went back to the elevator from The Last Jedi and swept up or had someone sweep up and collect all the broken pieces from the crushed helmet, just so he can put it up back together. No, he's Kylo Ren, the supreme leader, and at this point he has access to pretty much anything he wants. He could just make another helmet in the same fashion as he did the first. There's a reason the helmet is being put together. I think he's using shards of Vader's helmet. Now, masks are very important in Star Wars. They hold a special representation in the films and in the lore. In the canon Vader comics, we learn of a new character who fascinates me a lot. And I know hundreds of thousands of you think he's pretty cool too, judging just by the views and engagement of those particular videos addressing his story. If you don't know the story and have no clue what I'm talking about, and maybe you're new to the channel or Star Wars in general, I'm going to put in a few minutes from the comic where I show his story. However, if you've seen it and you're one of the OGs, then I'll put a timestamp and you can jump to skip it and continue with this video. Let's begin. We start where we left off, with Vader hovering over the last commander that Momin killed. Perplexed, he assumes the mask has possessed those around it. Raising it with the Force, careful not to touch it, he looks at the image that Momin created, and immediately walks towards the Sith cave, where we first saw him bleed his kyber crystal.
What are you?
I am Momin, and everything I did was guided by one simple principle.
Vader is immediately transfixed by the beam of red light cast by Lord Momin, allowing him to see the memory Momin commands. He tells Vader of something he came to understand at a very young age, as his mother walks into the room, asking him where the Rasta cat was, mentioning how terrible of an idea it was in the first place to get it. She pauses mid-sentence, as we get horrifying images of a sharp blade, intestines, and what looks like blood and guts to be used on a canvas.
If people feel nothing when encountering something you have created, then you have created nothing. Pain and fear are the purest of all emotions, because they are the first we feel at the moment of birth.
As we see Momin walking the streets, every person on his planet in the crowd is horrified and struck with fear and pain, the two emotions the artist wished to elicit from his audience. Locking him up for his psychotic display of his cat's insides, he tells Vader that the name Momin came to mean something to anyone who heard it. Claiming to be a sculptor of the mind, they locked him away for his work. But his name echoed through the galaxy, where a dark side user came to his rescue and freed him. Her name was Shah. She made him his apprentice and taught him everything she knew. Then, her apprentice killed her in her sleep. Wrong story. He killed her in their sparring duel.
I would never be so bold as to call myself a master, but an apprentice, I think not.
Killing her right there, he went on to study the lore of the dark side in ways that we've never seen before, visiting its different sites and respecting it as the only true audience he had that would appreciate his vision. If he could build something worthy of the dark side's grandeur, then perhaps he might become worthy in and of himself. So he set out to build a weapon, telling Vader that anyone can make a powerful weapon, but to be worthy of the Force, he had to make something so much more. His device would burn and set aflame cities. However, just before they would reduce them to ash, he would
pour the Force into the machine and slow time, able to capture all their pain and fear on a scale the galaxy has never known, frozen like insects in sap for anyone to see, forever. An eternal shrine to the dark side, my masterpiece.
Until he was ambushed and stopped by Jedi, and like that, in a flash, it was over. As he tells Vader no creation is perfect, but it also isn't a waste, that the dark side is sacred but forever hungry. It burns like a flame.
Inferno, it must be fed. Always it seeks fuel. If you do not feed it, then it will feed on you.
Where the mask possesses Vader to the point where he actually slips the mask on, only to come to his senses to throw it to the wall.
No.
Walking outside, the natives of Mustafar see him and are thrown into the lava with a Force-chucked boulder, by Vader of course. Firing upon him, he defends himself and blocks all blaster fire with his lightsaber, only to reach out and choke his enemy and throw Momin's helmet onto one of the natives. As it feeds and possesses his mind and body, Vader walks back to the cave with Momin as he marvels in being back on Mustafar, now that he has a body, telling Vader it wasn't always like this.
I do not care what it was, Momin. I am concerned with what it is.
And that is
a door.
As Momin tells Vader that it is locked, he tells him that he knows what he wants. He saw inside of him and his desires, telling him that if he wants something from him, all he needs to do is just ask.
You created this design in your last body. Tell me what it is.
The door to the dark side is locked. This is the key. Your beloved waits for you there, Vader. Beyond the door, my fortress will tune the energies of the Locust. It is your first step towards using the power of the dark side to pierce the veil of time between life and death. You will see her.
I have been lied to about the dark side's ability to prevent death before. Do not offer me things you cannot provide.
I do not lie. I only want another chance to create.
As Vader allows Momin to proceed, he threatens to make him suffer if he can't bring Padme back, where Momin tells him that he can't suffer any more than he already is, that Lord Vader has given him a wondrous opportunity.
I will not throw that away. This will be my masterpiece.
I think Palpatine, who knows all about Momin and gave the mask to help Vader on his quest, had entranced Vader's helmet with the same type of Sith magic that Momin used on his helmet. Momin was obsessed with the dark side, and something that would throw Vader deeper and deeper into the darkness the longer he wore it would be to put some Sith alchemy on his helmet. That's just such a Palpatine thing to do. I feel like they're taking some inspiration from Lord of the Rings, with the One Ring. Like how if you keep it on your person long enough, you eventually turn into this evil, vile thing, kind of like Gollum. I think Vader was constantly put into the dark side through his mask, which was cursed with ancient Sith alchemy and Sith magic. The idea of Momin's mask is so interesting to me. How it still lived all those years and then lived to possess the minds of anyone who wore it, to become the consciousness of Momin himself, and then later, of course, to bring Momin back. What if Vader's mask did this? What if Kylo wants to connect with Vader so much that he takes his helmet and fuses it with his own, thus allowing Vader's consciousness or even his ghost to return and speak to him from within his own head? Kylo is stronger mentally and physically than the regular officers or Mustafarians that Momin's mask mind-controlled. So for shards of Vader's mask to be on Kylo's, that would allow for a much less invasive or less powerful effect. However, an effect nonetheless. With this, Kylo could learn new things, new powers, new abilities. He would have a way of communing with the Dark Lord himself, and possibly going to his castle to unlock certain ancient relics, perform tasks for Vader to bring him back from the dead, or maybe his spirit. We know JJ wanted to bring Anakin's ghost back from the dead. However, it was a split ghost of good and evil, which to me is slightly confusing, but it kind of makes sense if you think about it, because Anakin's soul was split when he became Vader and he did all those bad things. Now, since Vader is one of the only people who knows about the Lord Momin story and actually fought Momin when he came back from being trapped within the world between worlds, then what if Vader's mask, if that's what Kylo's doing, instructs Kylo to go to Mustafar, to go to his castle, to go to the depths of it, and then open the world between worlds? If he were to do that, then what would be the purpose? Why? Maybe it's to bring someone back from the dead, or perhaps someone who's been trapped there for far too long. Perhaps it's a way of reversing a wrong that he did in the past, like killing his father or killing Snoke. Maybe him killing Snoke was all just a ploy to have Rey turn to the dark side. Now, my other theory is that the mask is being put together because someone who isn't Kylo is going to use it. In all the promotional photos that we've seen, we see Kylo with this red fused helmet is using his lightsaber with his left hand. Now, Kylo isn't left-handed that we know of. Vader was ambidextrous because, well, he was Vader and he was a robot at the end of the day, pretty much. But Kylo's human. So unless something happens to his right arm, why is he using his left hand? Maybe the person in that mask isn't Kylo at all. Maybe it's someone to possibly trick Rey or trick the First Order. Maybe it's all just deception. Now, I've raised a bunch of different theories in this video, and I can go into far greater detail in other videos that just talk about those. But what I really wanted to address in this one is the fact that what if Vader speaks to Kylo in some sort of way? Now we know in The Force Awakens that he did speak to Kylo, or at least Kylo believes that he did, or someone did, when he speaks to Vader's helmet, asking him to show him the way of the darkness once again, as he feels the pull to the light. So was it really Vader that was speaking to him? How did he speak to him? What did Kylo have to do? And what will he have to do now to make Vader speak to him again? My thoughts would be to put Vader's helmet into his and allow him to speak to him through the Force like that, kind of like Momin did. I've dropped a lot of theories in this video. Let me know which one sticks out to you the most, or maybe one that I haven't mentioned. If Kylo uses Vader's helmet, could this be a way for him to connect with Vader? Could it be the only way for Palpatine to come back? Will he use it to bring someone back from the dead, like Padme, for instance? That would lure Anakin in, wouldn't it? What could he learn from such power? Could he bring his father back? Or maybe Luke? Thanks for watching this theory video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I'll catch you all in the next one. Until then, remember, the Force will be with you, always.